Well, we're here with a build from Killzone 2 at the Sony pre-E3 event. We've brought the second level of the game with us. We've got two sections from that second level of the game. So you will have had some tutorial, will have had some introductions. But basically, what's happening now is the invasion is in full swing. You've just made it for the very first time down to the planet, and you've landed in this war zone. Something we call a theater of war, where you're really sort of part of that cinematic, intense battlefield experience where all hell is going on around you. You've got these motion captured animations that are going on all around you. Some of these things you might not even want to look at because you're too busy at other things. But every time you play this, you'll notice other details. Really, we're trying to add so much details in there that every time you play it, you get a different kind of experience there. So what we're doing now in terms of story is we've just made it down to the planet. We're trying to create a beachhead so that the convoy can land and can drive into the city to capture Emperor Visari. That's the main goal of the game, trying to capture that main protagonist. In this case, we're playing as Sev. Sev is a new main character. He's part of a squad of special forces. And we're focusing this time around solely on the story of Sev. So whereas in the original Killzone you had these different characters that you could play, this time around we're focusing only on his story. And want to make sure that the whole experience is as cinematic as possible, which means that if you look at the screen right now, there's virtually no HUD. There's no indications that you're part of this part of a game. Everything we want to do, we want to keep in first person as much as possible, so that the player really has the feeling that everything that happens in this world, everything that happens in the game, is part of his actions. So we just saw the bridge blow up. We've got a mechanic in here we call first person lean and peek, which means that if you go up to one of these cover points, you can just snap behind there and quickly pop up and shoot. All of this in first person, again to keep that feeling of immersion. Throughout the game we will have numerous occasions where we do things specifically in first person. We got a buddy assist mechanic that we'll see a little later on, where the buddy's helping you to reach a different area. All of that we want to keep in first person as much as possible. The Helghast are a lot smarter this time around. We're focusing, that's one of the things that we definitely wanted to improve over the previous Killzone, to make sure that the AI is up to speed. Not just because the world is a lot more complex with physics objects, with destructibility, but also to have them show some proper tactical behavior. With the lean and peek system we've got in here, it also allows you to assess the situation a lot better, so you can actually sort of see how you want to play this before you go into this situation. All of these abilities that the player has, like lean and peek, the AI have those same abilities. They can even blind fire over certain areas. They can throw grenades if you're hiding out for too long. So they're really trying to make this as challenging as possible for the player. Grenades, of course, you can still cook as well. That's something that we kept from the original Killzone, so that's building on the strengths of that. I think the visual style you recognize, we're carrying that forward from the original Killzone and Liberation onto something like a PlayStation 3. Trying to add and really utilize all the power that the PlayStation 3 has by adding lots and lots of detail, not just in the animations, but in the world itself. Everything is done with lots of detail. Now this is the buddy assist mechanic that we've got right here. Got your buddy snapping into position. He's going to give you a leg up. Again, all in first person. Want to make sure that you get the full experience there. And of course, the smart thing is, I mean, these systems, we're trying to make them foolproof as well. So, actually, never mind. If you actually jump down, your buddy will recognize that and will pull you up again as well. So, those kind of things we're all making sure that are very much polished up. Of course, we know that this game's coming out in February of 2009, which means that, well, looking at the game right now, got a lot more work to do. We're polishing up all these different kinds of things. Want to make sure that we get absolutely every detail right. It's that important for us to live up to the expectations that people have. So we want to make sure that everything is working the way it should. One of the things that's very important for us, you can see a reload animation here, is this being a first-person shooter, we want to make sure that the thing that you're doing for 70-80% of the time, which is shooting, actually feels really good. So not just the details in the reload animations, the depth of field on the weapons, the weightiness of the weapons. We want to make sure that every bullet you fire has an actual impact on the world around you. That means that not just the destructibility and physics objects that go flying. We all know the water cooler from Killzone 1. We want to make sure that there's a lot more destructibility this time around, and that you can sense all sorts of stuff flying. But this time around, one thing that we definitely wanted to improve over the original Killzone as well is the death animations. And what we did with that is we implemented the system we call the hit response system. With hit responses, what we're doing is we're blending motion captured hit animations, and we're blending those with physics impulses. So that means that based on the weapon that you're using, based on the distance, where you're hitting them, we're actively blending these animations. So every bullet that you fire has a different kind of impact, and you can see all these different animations, which really make you feel empowered because your weapon is doing all these cool things. In terms of destructibility, I can show you some of the cooler tricks we can do now. Shoot off their helmets, those kind of things. But also we've got some barrels over here. You can shoot one of these barrels there, they're the red ones. The gas canister, if you will, Kyle. Shoot one of these gas canisters. You can send it flying. And in this instance, doesn't do a whole lot of damage. If you're trying with one of these, you get these funny situations. It's something we call happy accidents. We want to make sure that once all these mechanics start falling into place, you get all these different kinds of situations, and you get these neat tricks. So sometimes these kind of things will help you, and other times it'll work completely against you. Same with the enemies. I mean, some of the systems that we've implemented there is where you're hitting the enemies with the hit responses and everything. If they're firing their weapon at that point, they will continue to fire their weapon while they're dying, but their bullets are actually active still. So if they're actually firing while dying, you can see physics objects flying around, you can see destructibility, they can actually shoot at destructibles, all those kind of things. So really want to make sure that everything feels like it should. We're going for something we like to call Hollywood realism. It's not just realism where we're trying to go for more simulation angle, but we want to take it slightly over the edge, slightly more bigger explosions, more exaggerated movements, all of that. So that's really important for us, that you get that feeling that everything feels real, even though it's science fiction, you're on a different planet. We can put you in situations that you will not have seen in other titles or in more realistic shooters, but at the same time have it grounded in reality. One of those things, you just saw Kyle do there, jump. In original Killzone, you would get stuck behind a ledge, you wouldn't be able to jump over. Killzone 2, you press X, you jump. But we wanted to keep that, again, grounded in reality. That means you're jumping, but you can't fire your weapon at that point. So it's those kind of things that really sort of add to that feeling of realism, that everything is very much grounded in that. Now, this is one of the instances where your buddy was helping you open a door, and actually you can progress now. We're going up to one of the other mechanics that is quite important for us, is a 6-axis mechanic. We wanted to have everything in first person as much as possible, so from the first person lean and peek to the buddy assist, and really get that sense of immersion. Now 6-axis is helping us accomplish that as well, where we're able to make a very tactile response, and something that you're actually feeling that you're doing something there. So if we walk up to this valve right here, this is just one example of what we're doing, but with the by holding the buttons, the shoulder buttons, and then letting go again and just rotating the controller, you can rotate this valve. This is just one example. We got different ones throughout the game that actually feel really tactile. This brings us pretty much to the end of the demonstration we've got here. We've got lots more different environments, lots more different kinds of gameplay scenarios that the player will encounter. But this is really all we've got to show for you today.